My husband gave his mistress everything. The apartment downtown, $3,500 a month, the BMW with the leather seats, $15,000 in jewelry, vacations to Cancun, Miami, Vegas while I worked double shifts. He gave her 13 years of my sacrifice, 13 years of my sweat, 13 years of money I earned while he played businessman. He gave her promises, whispered in her ear that he was leaving me, told her she would be the next Mrs. Carter, let her pick out furniture for my house while I was at work saving lives. But when death came knocking at his door, when his kidneys started shutting down, when doctors looked him in the eye and said, "You have 6 months without a transplant," there was one thing his precious mistress could not give him, one thing his mama could not give him, one thing his brother could not give him, one thing all his money could not buy. The only person on this entire earth whose body could save his life was me, the wife he was planning to throw away like yesterday's garbage. And baby, let me tell you what I did with that power. See, my husband thought he was smart, thought he had it all figured out, thought he could run around with a woman 9 years younger than me, spend our money on her, plan his escape, and I would never know. But here is what Raymond did not understand about me. I am a nurse, 15 years in dialysis. I know kidneys better than most doctors. I know what it looks like when someone is dying from the inside out. I know when a body is failing even when the person tries to hide it. And I know my husband. 13 years of marriage teaches you things. The way he breathes when he is lying. The way his eyes shift when he is hiding something. The way he touches his phone like it might explode if I see the screen. So when Raymond started coming home smelling like perfume that was not mine, when he started having meetings that ran until midnight, when money started disappearing from our account like water through a drain, I did not scream. I did not cry. I did not confront him. I watched. I waited. I gathered receipts. Because I am not the woman he married anymore. That woman trusted. That woman believed. That woman thought love was enough. This woman knows better. And this woman was about to teach Raymond Carter the most expensive lesson of his life. Before I tell you how this man went from planning his escape to begging on his knees for my kidney, I need you to do something for me. Hit that like button right now if you believe karma is real, because what I am about to tell you is proof that what goes around comes around. Subscribe to this channel if you want to see how a woman takes back her power, how she stops being a victim and starts being the one in control. And comment below. Tell me where you are watching from. I want to know how far this story reaches. I want to know how many women out there understand what it feels like to give everything to a man who gives you nothing back. Are you in Atlanta, New York, Chicago, Houston? Maybe you are watching from a small town where everybody knows your business, but nobody knows your pain. Tell me, because your story matters. Your voice matters. And maybe, just maybe, what happened to me will help you see something in your own situation, something you have been too scared to face, something you have been too tired to fight. Now let me take you back to where this all started, 6 months ago, when I still thought I was crazy for suspecting my husband, when I still blamed myself for not being enough. Before I knew that the man sleeping next to me was hiding 2 secrets that would change everything. 6 months ago, a Friday night, 11:47 according to the clock on my dashboard. I had just finished a 12-hour shift at the hospital. My feet were screaming. My back felt like someone had been using it as a punching bag. There was still blood under my fingernails from a patient who coded right before I was supposed to leave. I pulled into our driveway and sat there for a minute just breathing. Our house looked peaceful from the outside. Nice neighborhood. 2-car garage. Rose bushes I planted 5 years ago finally starting to bloom. The porch light was off. That was strange. Raymond knew I was working late. He always left the porch light on. I went inside. The house was dark and quiet. Kids were asleep. Jalen had a test tomorrow, so I know he went to bed early. Mia probably fell asleep watching videos on her tablet again. No sign of Raymond. I checked my phone. His last text was at 9. Meeting running late. Do not wait up. This was the 4th time this week he had a late meeting. I walked through the house like a ghost, dropped my bag on the kitchen counter, opened the refrigerator and stared at food I was too tired to eat, poured myself a glass of wine, even though I knew it would go straight to my head on an empty stomach. I did not turn on the lights, just sat at the kitchen table in the dark, sipping wine, watching headlights pass on the street outside. Something was wrong with my marriage. I could feel it the way you feel a storm coming before you see the clouds. That pressure in the air, that electricity on your skin. Raymond and I had been together since we were 21 years old. Met at church, if you can believe that. Young Professionals Ministry. He was wearing a blue suit that was a little too big and a smile that was a little too confident. I was wearing my good dress and my mama's pearls and trying not to look desperate even though I was tired of being alone. He asked for my number after the service, called me that same night, took me to dinner the next week. A real restaurant, not just fast food. He ordered for me without asking what I wanted, and I thought that was romantic instead of controlling. We got married 2 years later. I was 23, young and stupid and so in love I could not see straight. Now I was 38, not young anymore, not stupid either. And that love had been running on fumes for years. I finished my wine and poured another glass. The thing about marriage is that you tell yourself stories. Good stories to explain away the bad parts. He is not ignoring me. He is just tired from work. He is not being cold. He is just stressed about money. He did not mean it like that. I am being too sensitive. You tell yourself these stories so many times that you start to believe them. You become the author of your own lies. But lately, the stories were not working anymore. Raymond used to leave his phone on the kitchen counter when he came home. Now it stayed in his pocket. When he did set it down, it was always face down. Raymond used to smell like the cologne I bought him for Christmas. Now there was something else underneath it, something floral and soft. Not mine. Raymond used to gain weight every winter, said it was my good cooking. Now he was going to the gym 5 times a week, coming home with new clothes I did not buy, getting haircuts every 2 weeks instead of every month. Raymond was 42 years old. Who was he trying to impress? I heard his car pull into the driveway at 1:30 in the morning. Headlights swept across the ceiling. Engine cut off. Long pause before the car door opened. What was he doing sitting in the car? I stayed at the table. Did not move. Let the darkness hide me. The front door opened. Raymond came in quiet, trying not to wake anyone. He walked right past the kitchen without seeing me. Went straight upstairs to our bedroom. I heard the bathroom door close. Water running. He was taking a shower at 1:30 in the morning. Who showers after a business meeting? I finished my wine, rinsed the glass, climbed the stairs slowly, each step heavier than the last. By the time I got to our room, he was already in bed, facing the wall, pretending to be asleep. I stood in the doorway and looked at the back of his head. This man I had given 13 years to, father of my children, partner in my life, stranger in my bed. I did not say anything, just changed into my nightgown and got under the covers on my side. The space between us felt like an ocean. He did not reach for me, did not ask about my day, did not say goodnight, and I lay there in the dark, wide awake, asking myself the question I had been avoiding for months. Is my husband cheating on me? I did not sleep that night, just stared at the ceiling, running through every moment of the past few months. Every late night, every whispered phone call, every time he looked at me like I was furniture. By the time the sun came up, I had made a decision. No more stories, no more excuses, no more pretending everything was fine. I was going to find out the truth, whatever it took, whatever it cost, whatever I found, because living with suspicion was killing me, and I refused to die for a man who was not even trying to keep me alive. That Saturday morning, I woke up before anyone else, made coffee, sat at the kitchen table with a notebook and a pen like I was about to take notes for a class. But this was not a class. This was my life, and I was about to become a detective in my own home. First, I needed to document what I already knew. I wrote down every late night from the past month, every meeting that ran long, every gym session that lasted 3 hours, every time his phone rang and he left the room to answer it. The list filled 2 pages. Then I moved to the money. See, in our marriage, I was the one who handled the bills. Raymond was always too busy with his big business deals to worry about something as small as keeping the lights on. So I had access to everything. Bank accounts, credit cards, investment statements. I pulled up our joint checking account on my laptop, started scrolling through transactions. What I found made my coffee turn cold. Cash withdrawals, big ones. $2,000 here, $3,500 there, $1,800 2 weeks ago, all from ATMs across town, not near his office, not near the gym, places I did not recognize. I grabbed my phone and looked up the addresses. One was near a luxury apartment complex downtown. One was in a shopping district full of designer stores. One was by a restaurant so expensive I had never even dreamed of going there. My hands were shaking when I opened the credit card statement. Raymond had a card in his name that I was supposed to be able to see. We had agreed early in our marriage. Full transparency. No secrets. But the charges on this card were secrets. Every single one. Jewelry store, $2,300. Hotel downtown, $452 for one night. Women's boutique, $875. Restaurant charges every week, never less than $200. None of this was for me. I had not gotten jewelry in 5 years. We had not stayed in a hotel since our anniversary trip 3 years ago. I bought my clothes at Target and felt guilty about it, but somebody was living like a queen on my money. I sat there for a long time just staring at the numbers, adding them up in my head. In the past 3 months alone, Raymond had spent almost $12,000 that I could not account for. $12,000. That was more than I made in a month working overtime. My phone buzzed. Text from my best friend Tanya. "Girl, you up, I need to tell you something." Tanya had been my rock since nursing school. We started the same week, suffered through the same horrible instructors, celebrated the same graduation. She was there when I married Raymond. There when I had both my babies. There every time I called crying about something he did or did not do. If anyone would tell me the truth, it was her. I called her instead of texting back. "Hey," she answered. Her voice sounded careful, measured. "What is it?" I asked. Long pause. Then she said, "Can you come over? I do not want to say this on the phone." 20 minutes later, I was sitting in Tanya's living room. Her husband, Marcus, was conveniently gone. "Took the kids to the park," she said. "Gave us privacy." She handed me a cup of tea that I did not want, sat down across from me, took a deep breath. "I saw Raymond yesterday," she said. "Downtown, near that new apartment building on Peachtree." My stomach dropped. "Okay." He was not alone, Denise. The words hung in the air between us. I wanted to ask what she meant, wanted to pretend I did not understand, but I was done lying to myself. Who was he with, a woman? Young, light-skinned, long hair, dressed like she had money. They were walking into the building together. He had his hand on her back. The way he used to put his hand on your back. Tanya's eyes were full of tears. Not sympathy tears. Angry tears. I wanted to tell you sooner, but I was not sure. I thought maybe it was business, maybe a client, but the way he was touching her, Denise, the way she was looking at him. She did not finish the sentence. She did not have to. "How long have you suspected?" I asked. Tanya looked down at her hands. "Remember that work conference he went to in Charlotte 3 months ago, the pharmaceutical sales meeting? He came back with a sunburn and stories about boring seminars. Marcus's cousin works at the hotel where the conference was supposed to be. There was no pharmaceutical conference there that weekend. The hotel had a wedding expo. Raymond lied about the whole trip. For 3 days, I had thought my husband was sitting in meeting rooms learning about new drug research. He was somewhere else entirely. With someone else entirely. Why did you not tell me then?" "Because I was not sure." Tanya's voice cracked. "Because you have been through so much. Because I kept hoping I was wrong. I sat there processing everything, the bank statements, the credit card charges, Tanya seeing him with another woman, the fake conference. It was all real. Everything I had suspected, everything I had tried to explain away. My husband was cheating on me. 13 years of marriage, 2 children, a house with a mortgage, a life we built together, and he was throwing it all away for a woman with long hair and expensive clothes. "What are you going to do?" Tanya asked. I thought about it. Really thought about it, not reacting from emotion, not jumping to conclusions, just thinking. I am going to find out everything I said, who she is, how long this has been going on, what he has promised her, what he has given her, and then what I looked at my best friend, saw my own pain reflected in her eyes. Then I am going to make a plan, because I am not going to be blindsided. I am not going to be the fool who did not see it coming. I am going to know exactly what I am dealing with before I make my next move. Tanya nodded slowly. That sounds smart. What do you need? I need to hire someone. A professional. Someone who can follow him without getting caught. Document everything. Tanya pulled out her phone. My cousin works for an attorney. She knows people. Let me make a call. 2 hours later, I had a name and a number. Private investigator. Former police detective. Specialized in infidelity cases. It cost $2,000 for 2 weeks of surveillance. I paid it from my personal savings account, the one Raymond did not know existed, the one my mama told me to open when I first got married. Every woman needs escape money, she had said, even if you never use it, especially if you never use it. At the time, I thought she was being dramatic. Now I blessed her name. The investigator promised me photos, videos, documentation, a complete picture of my husband's second life. I hung up the phone and sat in Tanya's living room feeling something I had not felt in months. Not sad, not angry, not scared. Powerful. Because now I was not just a suspicious wife. I was a woman with a plan, a woman gathering evidence, a woman preparing for war. Raymond thought he was the smart one, the strategic one, the one running the show. He had no idea who he was dealing with. 1 week later, something happened that changed everything. I was at work, Tuesday afternoon. The dialysis unit was busy. 3 patients on machines, monitors beeping. The smell of antiseptic so familiar, I did not even notice it anymore. My colleague Janet came over with a chart. New patient transfer, she said, coming in from the Atlanta clinic, needs to be added to our regular rotation. I took the chart without thinking. Just routine paperwork. Name, date of birth, insurance information, medical history. My eyes scanned the top of the page, and my heart stopped. Patient name, Raymond Marcus Carter. Date of birth, March 15th, 1982. Address, our address. Our house. Our home. I blinked, read it again. 3 times. 4 times. It was still his name. Still his birthday. Still our address. My husband's name was on a dialysis patient chart. My hands started shaking so bad I almost dropped the folder. I looked around. Janet was already across the room helping another patient. Nobody was watching me. I walked to the break room on legs that did not feel like mine. Locked the door. Sat down at the table and opened the chart. Diagnosis, chronic kidney disease. Stage 3. First diagnosed 8 months ago. 8 months. Raymond had been sick for 8 months and never told me. I kept reading. Medical history, lab results, treatment plans. All the clinical details I understood too well because this was my job. This was what I did every single day. His kidneys were failing. Not fast, but steady. Stage 3 meant he had lost about half his kidney function. Without treatment, without lifestyle changes, he would progress to stage 4, then stage 5, then dialysis for the rest of his life, or death. The doctor's notes were detailed. Patient was counseled on dietary modifications. Patient was advised to reduce alcohol consumption. Patient was informed that transplant evaluation should begin within 12 to 18 months. Transplant. My husband might need a kidney transplant, and he had not told me. Had not mentioned a single doctor's visit, had not changed his diet that I could see, had not stopped drinking his bourbon every night. For 8 months, Raymond had been carrying this secret. Going to appointments I did not know about, getting treatments I was not told of, living with a death sentence he never shared. Why? Why would a man hide something like this from his wife unless his wife was not part of his future plans? The pieces started clicking together in my head. All those late nights, all that money spent, the young woman downtown, the fake conferences. Raymond was not just having an affair. He was building a whole new life, and he was not planning to bring me with him. But now he was sick, dying maybe, and his new life might not include the one thing he needed most, a matching kidney. I flipped through more pages in the chart, found the transplant evaluation notes. Raymond had started the workup 3 months ago. Potential living donors tested, the notes said. Results attached. I turned to the next page. Mother Jean Carter. Blood type A, negative. Not compatible. Brother Marcus Carter. Blood type AB, positive. Not compatible. I stared at those 2 entries. Raymond had tested his mama and his brother, the 2 people he was closest to in the world. Neither one could help him. But there was one more entry, one that made my blood turn to ice. Other, Crystal Simmons. Blood type A, positive. Not compatible. Crystal Simmons. I did not know that name, had never heard Raymond mention it, but she was tested as a potential kidney donor. You do not test strangers as kidney donors. You do not test business associates. You do not test casual acquaintances. You test family. And you test lovers. Crystal Simmons was the woman, the one Tanya saw him with, the one getting the apartment and the jewelry and the vacations. And Raymond had asked her to give him a kidney before he asked me. He tested his mistress before his wife. I sat in that break room for 30 minutes, just breathing, just processing, trying to wrap my head around the depth of my husband's betrayal. It was not just the cheating. That was bad enough. But this was a man who was planning to leave me, planning to run off with his young girlfriend, planning to start fresh like our 13 years meant nothing. But his body had other plans. His kidneys were failing, and suddenly his whole scheme was in danger because Crystal was not compatible. Mama Jean was not compatible. Marcus was not compatible. The transplant list was 5 to 7 years long. Raymond might not have that kind of time. And there I was, his wife, the nurse, the woman he had discarded in his mind already, the woman he had not even asked to be tested, because asking me meant telling me he was sick, telling me he needed help, telling me before he was ready to leave. Raymond was stuck, trapped between his affair and his failing organs. He wanted out of our marriage, but he might need me to survive. I closed the chart, straightened my scrubs, washed my face in the bathroom, walked back onto the floor with my professional mask firmly in place. Nobody could know. Not yet. Because now I had information. Real information. The kind that could change everything. My husband was cheating on me. I knew that. My husband was dying. Now I knew that too. And my husband had tested everyone except me, which meant he did not know if I was compatible. But I was a nurse. I had access to his records. I had access to the lab. I could find out exactly what Raymond needed. And then I could decide whether or not to give it to him. That night, I went home like nothing had changed, made dinner, helped Mia with her homework, kissed Raymond on the cheek when he finally walked through the door at 9:30. He looked tired, pale. The kind of pale I recognized from work. The pale of someone whose body was fighting a losing battle. "You okay?" I asked. My voice perfectly normal, my face perfectly concerned. "Just a long day," he said. "I'm gonna take a shower and go to bed." He walked past me without another word, without noticing that I was looking at him differently now, without seeing that his wife was not his wife anymore. I was his judge, his jury, and maybe his executioner, because I had something he did not know about. I had knowledge, and in this war he did not even know we were fighting. Knowledge was everything. 2 weeks later, the private investigator called. "I've got everything you need," he said. "Can we meet?" I took a half day at work, told Raymond I had a dentist appointment, met the investigator at a coffee shop in Buckhead, far from our neighborhood, far from anyone who might recognize me. His name was Marcus Williams, former Atlanta PD, retired early after taking a bullet in the leg during a drug bust. Now he made his living finding out things people wanted to stay hidden. He slid a large manila envelope across the table. "It's not pretty," he said, "but it's thorough." I opened the envelope, Inside was a stack of photographs printed on glossy paper. High quality. Professional. The first photo was Raymond's car parked outside a high-rise apartment building. Timestamp said 7:42 p.m. on a Tuesday. The second photo was Raymond walking into the building. Clear shot of his face. No doubt it was him. The third photo was a woman standing at a window on the 14th floor. Young. Maybe late 20s. Light skin. Long weave that probably cost more than my monthly grocery budget. She was looking down at the street. Waiting. That's Crystal Simmons, the investigator said. 29 years old. Works for the same pharmaceutical company as your husband. Started about 2 years ago. Sales rep. She's the one. She's the one. They've been seeing each other at least 18 months based on what I found. The apartment is in your husband's name. He pays the rent. $3,500 a month. I flipped to the next photo. Raymond and Crystal at a restaurant, his hand on top of hers. Both of them laughing like they did not have a care in the world. Next photo. Raymond helping Crystal into the BMW. The BMW I thought he bought for work. For driving clients around. For looking professional. He bought it for her. Next photo. Raymond and Crystal walking on a beach. This one had a different timestamp. 3 months ago. The weekend he said he had a pharmaceutical conference in Charlotte. I kept flipping. Photo after photo. Evidence stacking up like bricks. A wall of proof I could not argue with. Raymond and Crystal at a jewelry store. Raymond handing over a credit card. Crystal wearing a diamond bracelet. The same diamond bracelet I saw on the credit card statement. $2,300. Raymond and Crystal checking into a hotel. The same hotel I saw on the statement. $452 for one night. Crystal in designer clothes, designer bags, designer shoes. All of it paid for with money that should have been going to our children's college fund. I got financial records too, the investigator said. He pulled out another stack of papers. Your husband opened a separate checking account 18 months ago, not connected to your joint accounts. He's been funneling money into it. About $2,000 a month. $2,000 a month for 18 months. That was $36,000. There's also a credit card you don't know about, in his name only. Balance is about $15,000, all charges related to Crystal Simmons, the apartment, the car, the gifts. $50,000. My husband had spent $50,000 on another woman. I sat there looking at the evidence, photo after photo, document after document. 18 months of lies spread out on a coffee shop table. Most women cry when they see this stuff, the investigator said quietly. You haven't shed a tear. I looked up at him, met his eyes. I cried enough before I knew for sure. Now that I know crying is not going to help me. He nodded. Respect flickered across his face. What are you going to do? I gathered up the photos, stacked the documents neatly, put everything back in the envelope. I'm going to win. The drive home was quiet. I did not turn on the radio, did not call Tanya, did not scream or cry or break down. I just drove and thought. Raymond was cheating. That was confirmed. Raymond was dying. That was confirmed. Raymond had tested his mistress as a kidney donor. That was confirmed. Raymond had not tested me. That was also confirmed, and the reason he had not tested me was because he did not want me to know. He was planning to leave me. Probably soon. Probably as soon as he figured out his medical situation. But his medical situation was not cooperating. No compatible donors, a transplant list years long, kidneys that were failing faster than expected. Raymond was running out of time, and running out of options. I pulled into my driveway and sat in the car for a long minute, looking at our house, the rose bushes, the kids' bikes in the garage, the porch light that Raymond actually remembered to leave on tonight. From the outside, we looked like the perfect family. From the inside, we were a disaster waiting to happen. I got out of the car and walked inside. Raymond was on the couch watching TV. The kids were upstairs doing homework. How was the dentist? Raymond asked without looking at me. Fine. Just a cleaning. Good. He did not ask anything else. Did not notice I was carrying an envelope full of his secrets. Did not see that his wife was not the same woman who left this morning. I went upstairs to our bedroom, closed the door, sat on the bed with the envelope in my lap. Then I pulled out my phone and made a call. Tanya answered on the second ring. "Girl, what happened? Did you get the report?" "I got it. Everything. Photos, financial records, all of it." "Oh, Denise, I'm so sorry. What are you going to do?" "I'm going to do one more thing first. Then I'll figure out my next move. What's the one more thing I'm going to find out if I'm compatible?" "What do you mean Raymond needs a kidney, Tanya?" "His are failing. He tested his mama, his brother, even his mistress. None of them match. Oh my God. And he never told you? Never. Not a word." "Because he's planning to leave me. He doesn't want me to know anything until after the divorce is final. But if he needs a transplant, then he might need me. The wife he was going to throw away. The one person he didn't test because testing me meant telling me." Tanya was quiet for a moment. "So, what are you thinking?" "I'm thinking I need to know what cards I'm holding. If I'm not compatible, then this is just a cheating case. But if I am compatible, if you are compatible, then you have something he needs, something nobody else can give him." "Exactly." The next day, I ran my own tests, used my access at the hospital, had my colleague draw my blood without asking why, sent it to the lab with Raymond's patient ID. It took 3 days to get the results. 3 days of acting normal, making dinner, going to work, sleeping next to a man who was betraying me in every way possible. When the results came back, I was in the break room at work. Same room where I found out he was sick. Felt appropriate somehow. Blood type O, negative, universal donor, the rarest and most valuable blood type for transplants. Tissue typing. 6 out of 6 HLA antigens matched with patient Raymond Carter. Cross-match negative. No antibodies detected. At the bottom of the report, someone had handwritten a note. "Perfect match. This is extremely rare. Donor should be contacted immediately." I read that note 3 times. Perfect match. My body could save Raymond's life. My kidney was the answer to his prayers. The one thing that could stop his countdown to death. And he did not know. He had tested everyone else. His mama, his brother, his mistress. All failures, all dead ends. But his wife, the woman he was planning to abandon, the woman whose money he spent on another woman, I was perfect. I was the one thing he needed most, and I was the one person he had not thought to ask. I folded the lab results and put them in my purse, walked back onto the floor, helped 3 patients with their dialysis, smiled and joked and acted like my whole world had not just tilted on its axis. That night, I looked at Raymond across the dinner table. He was eating the food I cooked, sitting in the chair I paid for. In the house I made payments on every month. He had no idea that his life was in my hands. No idea that the woman he dismissed could save him. No idea that his wife had just become the most powerful person in his universe. And I was going to keep it that way until the moment was right. Until he came crawling. Until he understood exactly what he had thrown away. Then and only then would I show him my cards and make him pay for every single lie. Now I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, "Girl, why didn't you confront him right then? Why didn't you throw those photos in his face and kick him out of your house? Because that's what most women would do. That's what I wanted to do." Every cell in my body was screaming at me to explode, to rage, to make him feel even a fraction of the pain he caused me. But here's what 13 years of marriage and 15 years of nursing taught me. Emotions make you sloppy. Reactions give away your power. The moment you show someone what you know, you lose your advantage. And I had the biggest advantage of all. I knew everything. Raymond knew nothing. He didn't know I had photos of him and Crystal walking into that apartment. He didn't know I had financial records showing every dollar he stole from our family. He didn't know I found his medical files. He didn't know I was a perfect kidney match. He thought he was still in control, still the man with the plan, still 3 steps ahead of his stupid, trusting wife. Let him think that. Let him keep believing he was winning, because when the truth came out and it would come out, I wanted to be ready. I wanted every piece in place. I wanted him to have nowhere to run and no one to turn to. So I waited. 3 months, 91 days, 2,184 hours. I played the role of the clueless wife so well I should have won an Oscar. "Good morning, baby. How did you sleep? Have a good day at work, honey. Dinner's ready whenever you are." I smiled when he came home late, made excuses for him when the kids asked why Daddy missed another school event, pretended not to notice when he checked his phone under the dinner table. Every lie he told me I filed away in my memory. Every dollar that disappeared from our account I documented. Every night he claimed to be working late, I knew exactly where he was and who he was with. The investigator stayed on retainer. $200 a week for periodic updates, worth every penny. Crystal moved into the apartment full-time last month, he told me during one of our meetings. Your husband is spending 3 or 4 nights a week there now, sometimes more. I nodded and wrote him another check. Meanwhile, I was building my case, not just for divorce, but for war. I made copies of every financial document in our house. Bank statements, tax returns, investment accounts, the deed to our house, the titles to our cars. Everything. I stored them at my mama's house. She didn't ask questions, just cleared out a drawer in her bedroom and gave me the key. I consulted with a divorce attorney, woman named Patricia Henderson, came highly recommended by Reverend Mother Grace at church. Denise Patricia told me during our first meeting, "Based on what you've shown me, you're in a strong position. The house is in both names, but you can prove you've made the majority of payments. The children are primarily in your care. And these financial records showing hidden accounts and excessive spending on a third party, that's going to look very bad for him in front of a judge." "What about the medical situation?" I asked. She paused. "That's more complicated. You can't be forced to donate an organ. That's your body, your choice. But if he asks and you refuse, it could affect how people perceive you. The court, his family, maybe even your children." "I understand." My advice: don't make any decisions about that until you have to. Focus on protecting yourself and your children first. The kidney question can wait. So I waited, and watched, and prepared, and every night I lay next to a man who was lying to me, dying in front of me, and planning to leave me, and I felt nothing but cold, clear determination. Raymond Carter had no idea what was coming, but he would. Soon enough he would. The night I discovered Raymond's full plan started like any other. I was supposed to be working the night shift, 12 hours 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., but one of my patients was discharged early and my supervisor sent me home at midnight. Said I looked tired, said I should get some rest. If she only knew. I pulled into the driveway expecting the house to be dark. Raymond had texted me at 9 saying he was going to bed early, exhausted from work. But there was a light on in the living room. I sat in my car for a minute watching. Through the window, I could see Raymond moving around. Not in bed. Very much awake. I came in quiet, took off my shoes in the garage, moved through the kitchen without making a sound. Raymond was in the living room with his laptop open, phone pressed to his ear. His back was to me. I stood in the shadow of the hallway and listened. "Baby, I know. I know. I'm working on it." His voice was soft, tender. The voice he used to use with me back when he still bothered to pretend. "The divorce papers are almost ready. My lawyer says we can file next month. She won't see it coming." My heart was pounding so loud I was sure he could hear it, but he just kept talking. "The house. Don't worry about that. It's in both our names, but I've been paying the mortgage for years. My lawyer says I have a strong claim. We'll sell it, split the proceeds. Should be at least $150,000 each." I almost laughed out loud. Him paying the mortgage? That mortgage came out of my checking account every single month. Auto pay from my salary. He hadn't contributed to a house payment in 5 years, but clearly he had told Crystal a different story. "Yeah, she'll get the kids most of the time. I'll do weekends or whatever. You know I love Jalen and Mia, but kids need their mother, and once we're settled, maybe we can talk about having one of our own." One of our own. He was planning to have a baby with her, while his current children were sleeping upstairs, while his current wife was supposed to be at work saving lives. "Look, I gotta go. She might call to check in. I love you too. See you tomorrow." He hung up. I slipped back into the kitchen, out through the garage, and sat in my car for another 10 minutes. Then I made noise coming in, jangled my keys, called out his name. "Baby, you still up?" Raymond appeared in the hallway, face perfectly composed. Not a trace of guilt. "Hey, you're home early. Everything okay? Patient got discharged. They sent me home. Good. You worked too hard. He kissed my forehead. Dry lips. No feeling behind it. Come to bed. I followed him upstairs. Lay down next to him in the dark. Listened to his breathing slow as he fell asleep. $150,000. That's what he thought he was getting from our house. The house my grandmother's inheritance helped buy. The house I had poured 20 years of payments into. He was going to sell my house and give half the money to his mistress. The next day, while Raymond was at work, I did something I had never done before. I went through his things, not just a quick look, a thorough systematic search, starting with his home office. His laptop was password protected, but Raymond was not as clever as he thought. The password was Mia's birthday, our daughter, the child he was planning to see on weekends or whatever. His email was a goldmine, messages from his lawyer, a woman named Sandra Chin. Apparently, she specialized in high-asset divorces and had a reputation for protecting husbands from greedy wives. The irony was so thick I could choke on it. I read through their correspondence. The strategy was clear. File for divorce, citing irreconcilable differences. Request 50-50 split of all marital assets. Argue that Raymond was the primary breadwinner and therefore entitled to the house and investments. Seek joint custody to minimize child support payments. There was a draft of the divorce petition attached to one email. I read every word. He claimed he had been the primary provider for 13 years, that I worked part-time and contributed minimally to household expenses, that he had sacrificed his career to support the family while I pursued my hobbies. Part-time, I worked full-time plus overtime for 15 years. He called that part-time sacrificed his career. He had gone through 3 failed business ventures, all funded by my salary. His current job was the first stable employment he'd had in 5 years. Pursued my hobbies. My hobby was keeping his family alive while he played entrepreneur. Every line was a lie. Every claim was backwards. He had taken my contributions and credited them to himself, taken his failures and blamed them on me. I kept searching. Found emails to Crystal. Hundreds of them, going back 18 months. I read enough to understand their story. They met at a company conference, started flirting, had their first kiss in a hotel elevator, slept together for the first time in Miami during a supposed sales training. He told her he was unhappy, said I didn't understand him, said our marriage had been dead for years, said he stayed for the kids but couldn't do it anymore. He told her he loved her by their 3rd month together, promised to leave me by their 6th month, kept pushing the deadline back again and again. Now it was 18 months later and he was finally ready to follow through, but not because he found the courage, because he was dying. Deep in the email chain, I found the messages about his diagnosis. He had told Crystal about his kidney disease 3 months ago, framed it as a minor health issue, said the doctors were optimistic, said he just needed to watch his diet and take some medication. He lied to her too. And then I found the email that made everything click. It was from Raymond to Crystal, sent 2 weeks ago. Baby, I need to talk to you about something serious. My kidney situation is worse than I thought. The doctors are saying I might need a transplant within a year. I know this is a lot to ask, but would you be willing to get tested to see if you're compatible? I know we're not family yet, but you're the person I trust most in this world. I need to know if you could save me. Her response came the next day. Of course, babe. I would do anything for you. I'll call the hospital today and set up the testing. We're going to get through this together. I love you. She got tested. She came back incompatible, and now Raymond was stuck. His girlfriend couldn't save him. His mother couldn't save him. His brother couldn't save him. The only person who could save him was me. And according to his emails, according to his lawyer, according to his plan, I was the enemy. The woman he was about to betray. The problem he was about to discard. I closed the laptop, put everything back exactly where I found it. Then I sat in his office chair and thought. Raymond's plan was falling apart. He wanted to divorce me, take half my assets, move in with Crystal, and start a new life. But his body was failing faster than his scheme could unfold. He needed a kidney. Soon. Maybe within months. And he couldn't ask me. Because asking me meant admitting he was sick. Admitting he was sick meant explaining why he had hidden it. Explaining why he had hidden it meant revealing everything. His affair, his lies, his plans. The moment he asked me for a kidney, his whole house of cards would collapse. So what was he going to do? I found out 3 days later. Another email, this one from his lawyer. Ray, given your medical situation, I recommend we accelerate the timeline. File for divorce. Now push for a quick settlement. Once the divorce is final, you can pursue medical options without her being involved in your healthcare decisions. We can argue that the marriage breakdown caused stress that worsened your condition. Might even get sympathy from a judge. His response was simple. Do it. File the papers this week. He was going to divorce me first. Get his money. Get out. Then deal with his kidneys. He was willing to risk dying just to avoid asking me for help. That's how much he wanted to be free of me. That's how much he hated the life we had built together. That's how much his pride meant to him. More than his health, more than his family, more than his life. Fine. If Raymond wanted to play this game, I would play too. But I was playing to win. And I had cards he didn't even know existed. God has a sense of humor. That's what my grandmother used to say. He lets us make our plans, then watches us stumble over our own feet. Raymond had his plan. Divorce me. Take the money. Run off with Crystal. But Raymond's body had a different plan. It started 2 weeks after I found his emails. He came home from work early one day, said he wasn't feeling well, went straight to bed. I played the concerned wife, brought him soup, checked his temperature, asked if he needed anything. He looked at me with those eyes that used to make me melt. Now they just looked tired, defeated. I'm fine, just need rest. But he wasn't fine, and we both knew it. Over the next few weeks, I watched my husband deteriorate. Not dramatically, not all at once, but steadily, like a candle burning down to nothing. His skin got paler. The healthy brown tone he'd always had faded to something grayish, something sick. He lost weight, not the gym kind. The kind that comes from your body eating itself because it can't process food properly. He was tired all the time. Came home from work and collapsed on the couch. Didn't have energy to play with the kids. Barely had energy to shower. The kids noticed. Mia asked me one night, "Mama, is Daddy sick?" I told her Daddy was just tired from work, that he would feel better soon. But Jalen, my 12-year-old who saw everything, gave me a look. He knew I was lying. He just didn't know why. Raymond was still going to work, still going to the gym, still I assumed going to Crystal, but each day took more out of him, and he was still hiding it from me. Every morning he would put on his suit and his smile and pretend everything was normal. Every evening he would drag himself through the door looking like he had run a marathon. One night, I woke up at 3 a.m. and found him in the bathroom on his knees in front of the toilet. I stood in the doorway and watched him vomit, watched him tremble, watched him wipe his mouth with a shaking hand. When he saw me, his face changed. Surprise. Then fear. Then that fake smile. "Bad shrimp," he said. "Had some for lunch. Go back to bed." I went back to bed. But I didn't sleep, because I knew what was happening. Stage 3 kidney disease progresses to Stage 4 when the kidneys lose most of their function. At Stage 4, toxins build up in the blood. The body can't filter waste. Nausea, fatigue, loss of appetite, all of it follows. Raymond was getting worse. Fast. I checked his medical records at work the next day. His latest labs showed EGFR at 22. That's severe. 1 step away from kidney failure, 1 step away from dialysis or death. The doctor's notes said he had been urged to consider immediate transplant evaluation. Said the patient was counseled on the importance of finding a living donor. But Raymond still hadn't asked me. His pride, his stubborn, stupid pride. He would rather die than admit to me that he needed help. Would rather let his kidneys fail than confess what he had done. Part of me wanted to feel sorry for him. The man I married, the father of my children, wasting away right in front of me. But then I remembered the apartment, the jewelry, the BMW, the vacations, the divorce papers waiting to be filed. I remembered Crystal's name on the donor testing list, tested before his own wife. I remembered the phone call I overheard. She won't see it coming. My sympathy dried up like a puddle in the sun. Raymond made his choices, every single one. He chose to cheat. He chose to steal. He chose to lie. He chose to plan his escape while his body was falling apart. Now he was living with the consequences. And I was just watching, waiting, letting him hang himself with his own rope. One morning, about 6 weeks after I found his emails, Raymond collapsed in the kitchen. I was making breakfast. The kids were at the table. Raymond walked in, poured himself coffee, and then just went down. Like someone had cut his strings. Jalen screamed. Mia started crying. I told them to go to their rooms, called 911. Then I knelt beside my husband on the cold tile floor. His eyes were open but unfocused. His breathing was shallow. His skin felt clammy and cold. Raymond, can you hear me? He blinked, looked at me. For a moment, I saw something real in his eyes. Fear. Pure animal fear. Denise, he whispered. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. The paramedics arrived before he could say anything else, loaded him onto a stretcher, asked me questions I already knew the answers to. Does he have any medical conditions? I looked at my husband, at the man who had kept this secret for almost a year, at the man who tested his mistress for a kidney match before his own wife. Yes, I said. Chronic kidney disease. Stage 4. He's been hiding it from me. The paramedic's face changed. How long? About 10 months. I just found out recently. They took him to the hospital. I followed in my car. Called Tanya on the way. It's happening, I told her. He collapsed. They're taking him to Grady. Oh my God, what are you going to do? Right now, I'm going to be the perfect supportive wife. I'm going to sit by his bedside and hold his hand and let everyone see how devoted I am. And then I'm going to wait for him to ask me. Because he's going to have to ask me now. There's no more hiding, no more pretending. He's going to have to look me in the eye and beg me to save his life. And when he does, I'm going to be ready. Raymond spent 4 days in the hospital. I played my role perfectly. Devoted wife, concerned partner. At his bedside every moment I wasn't working or taking care of the kids. The doctor stabilized him, got his numbers under control, started him on emergency dialysis, but they were clear. This is temporary, Mrs. Carter. His kidneys are failing. Without a transplant, he'll need dialysis 3 times a week for the rest of his life, and even then the prognosis is not good. How long, I asked? If he doesn't get a transplant? The doctor hesitated. Every case is different, but typically dialysis patients have a 5-year survival rate of about 35%. 10 years, much lower. I nodded like this was news to me. Thanked him for being honest. Inside, I was doing math. 5 years. That's how long my husband might have if no one saved him. 5 years of dialysis. 5 years of hospitals and machines and slowly dying. Or he could ask me, and maybe live. The thing about hospital stays is they reveal things. Raymond was too weak to manage his double life. His phone kept buzzing with messages he couldn't answer. His lies started unraveling. On the second day, Mama Jean showed up, Raymond's mother. 70 years old and still convinced her son was perfect. She burst into the room like she owned it. My baby, my poor baby. What happened? I stepped back and let her have her moment. Watched her fuss over Raymond. Watched her glare at me like this was somehow my fault. Have you been taking care of him? She asked me, her voice sharp with accusation. He looks terrible. What have you been feeding him? I kept my face neutral. He's been hiding his illness from everyone, Mama Jean, including me. I just found out how serious it was. She looked at Raymond. Her precious son, her golden boy. Raymond, is that true? You didn't tell anyone. He wouldn't meet her eyes. I didn't want to worry anyone. Mama Jean sat down heavily in the visitor chair. Oh, Raymond, we could have helped. We could have done something. I almost laughed. Done what? Given him a kidney she already tested incompatible, but she had conveniently forgotten to mention that part. On the 3rd day, something interesting happened. I had stepped out to get coffee. When I came back, I heard voices in Raymond's room. Low, tense. I stopped outside the door, listened. You have to tell me the truth, Raymond. A woman's voice. Not Mama Jean. Younger. Sharper. Crystal. I should have known she would show up. Baby, I'm sorry. Raymond's voice was weak but desperate. I didn't know it would get this bad this fast. You told me it was under control. You told me it was just a minor thing. Now they're saying you need a transplant. I know. I was scared. I didn't want to lose you. Long pause. Then Crystal spoke again, and her voice was different. Cold. The sweetness stripped away. Raymond, I need to think about this. Think about what? About us. About everything. Baby, what are you saying? I'm saying I didn't sign up for this. Hospitals, dialysis, transplants. I'm 29 years old, Raymond. I have my whole life ahead of me. You said you loved me. You said we would be together. I know what I said, but that was when I thought we were building a future, not when I thought I'd be pushing you around in a wheelchair. That's not going to happen. I'm going to get a transplant. I'm going to be fine. From who? Crystal's voice turned sharp. Your mama can't give you one. Your brother can't give you one. I can't give you one. Who's left Raymond? Who's going to save you? Silence. Then Crystal said the words that confirmed everything I suspected about her. Your wife could. Have you asked her? Raymond didn't answer. That's what I thought. You've been so busy planning how to leave her that you forgot you might need her. That's rich, Raymond. That's really rich. Crystal, please. Don't do this. I'm not doing anything. You did this. You lied to me. You told me we were going to have a life together. You told me we were going to have babies. How are we supposed to do any of that now? I heard movement. Footsteps. I need some space, Crystal said. Don't call me. I'll reach out when I'm ready. Baby, wait. Wait. But she was already walking out. I stepped back into an alcove, watched her march past, her heels clicking on the hospital floor, her face hard and closed. She didn't look like a woman leaving her sick boyfriend. She looked like a woman cutting her losses. I waited a few minutes. Then I went back into Raymond's room. He was lying there staring at the ceiling. His eyes were wet. Hey, I said softly. I brought you coffee. He didn't look at me, just said, thank you. I sat down in the chair next to his bed. Let the silence stretch. Finally, he spoke. Denise, I need to tell you something. I waited. I've made some mistakes. Some really bad mistakes. What kind of mistakes? He closed his eyes. The kind I don't know how to fix. I sat there looking at my husband, this man who had cheated on me, lied to me, stolen from me, planned to throw me away. Now his mistress had abandoned him. His family couldn't save him. His doctors were running out of options, and here I was, his wife, his perfect match, the one person in the world who could give him what he needed. You know, I said slowly, whatever mistakes you've made, we can talk about them when you're feeling better. He opened his eyes, looked at me, and for the first time in years, I saw something real there. Not charm, not manipulation, just desperation. Do you mean that I smiled? The same kind smile I had given him for 13 years. Of course, we're married, for better or worse. Remember, he reached for my hand, held it tight, and I let him. Because I knew what was coming next. He was going to tell me about Crystal, about the affair, about the money, about all of it. He was going to confess everything, and then he was going to ask me for a kidney. And when he did, I would finally have all the power, every single bit of it. Raymond came home from the hospital on a Sunday. The kids had made a welcome home banner. Jalen helped Mia color it with markers, big block letters that said, "We love you, Daddy." I hung it in the living room where he would see it first thing, because I wanted him to remember what he had, what he was about to lose, what he had thrown away for a woman who couldn't even be bothered to visit him in the hospital after day 3. Crystal had gone silent. No calls. No texts. The investigator told me she had been seen moving boxes out of the apartment, the one Raymond was still paying $3,500 a month for. She was erasing herself from his life, like she had never existed. But the bills remained, and the debt, and the lies. Raymond was weak when he got home, needed help walking from the car to the house, needed help getting up the stairs, needed help getting into bed. I helped him with all of it, patient and gentle and loving. The perfect wife. That night, after the kids went to bed, I sat in the chair next to our bed and watched him. He was propped up on pillows. Machine on the nightstand monitoring something. Medications lined up in little bottles. My husband had become one of my patients. "Denise," he said. His voice was thin. "We need to talk." I nodded. "Okay." He took a breath. It rattled in his chest. "I've been lying to you for a long time about a lot of things." I kept my face neutral. "What things I've been? There's been someone else." There it was. Finally. After 18 months of secrets, he was saying the words out loud. I didn't react. Just waited. "Her name is Crystal. She works at my company. We've been together for about a year and a half." He watched my face, looking for tears. Anger. Something. I gave him nothing. "There's more," he continued. "I've been spending money on her. A lot of money. There's an apartment, and a car, and other things." "How much?" He swallowed. "Probably around 50,000, maybe more. $50,000. I said it flat, not a question, a statement. I know it's bad. I know I messed up, but Denise, that's not everything. There's more." "The divorce. I was planning to divorce you. My lawyer had papers ready. I was going to file next month." He was crying now, tears running down his face, getting lost in the gray of his skin. "I was going to leave you, Denise. Take the house. Take whatever I could. Start over with Crystal. I had it all planned out." I sat very still. Let him think I was processing. Let him think he was breaking my heart with his confession. But I already knew all of this. Had known for months. Had copies of every email, every financial record, every photo. I was just waiting for him to say it out loud. "Why are you telling me now?" He closed his eyes. "Because I need you. Need me for what? You know what? You know about my kidneys. You're a nurse. You probably knew before I did." I didn't confirm or deny, just waited. "The doctors say I need a transplant. Soon. The waiting list is years long." "I don't have years." He opened his eyes, looked right at me. "My mama can't give me a kidney. Marcus can't either. Crystal, she got tested. She's not compatible." I stayed silent. "You're the only one left, Denise. You're my only chance." There it was. After 18 months of lying. After $50,000 stolen. After planning to throw me out of my own house. He needed me. "Let me make sure I understand," I said slowly. "You cheated on me, stole from me, planned to divorce me. And now you want me to give you one of my organs." He flinched. "When you put it like that, how else should I put it, Raymond? I know I don't deserve it. I know I have no right to ask. But you're asking anyway. Because I'm dying, Denise." He was sobbing now, full, ugly crying. "I'm dying and you're the only one who can save me. Please. I'm begging you. I'll do anything. Anything you want." I let him cry, let him beg, let him feel every ounce of desperation he had put me through. Then I stood up. "I'm going to sleep in the guest room tonight. I need to think." "Denise, please. Don't leave me like this. I need to know. Will you do it? Will you save me?" I stopped at the door, looked back at him. This pathetic man in my bed, hooked up to machines, crying like a child. The same man who had called me boring, who had told Crystal I was the problem, who had planned to take everything I worked for. I don't know, Raymond. I honestly don't know. I closed the door behind me, and I smiled, because now the real negotiation could begin. I called an emergency meeting of my girls the next day. Tanya's house. Sunday afternoon. Kids were with Raymond's brother, Marcus, who suddenly wanted to be helpful now that his brother was dying. Funny how that works. Tanya, Pat, and Reverend Mother Grace were already there when I arrived, sitting in Tanya's living room with tea and concerned faces. I sat down and told them everything. The confession, the begging, the kidney question. When I finished, silence hung in the air. Pat spoke first. "So let me get this straight. He cheated. He stole. He was going to divorce you. And now he wants your kidney. That's about the size of it." Tanya shook her head. The audacity, the absolute audacity of this man. Reverend Mother Grace had been quiet, listening with her hands folded in her lap. Now she spoke. "Denise, child, what do you want to do?" I looked at her. This woman who had known me since I was a teenager, who had watched me grow up, get married, have children, who had seen me struggle and survive. "I want justice," I said. "I want him to understand what he did. I want him to pay for it, but I also want to be able to look at myself in the mirror, and I want my children to be proud of their mother." Mother Grace nodded slowly. "Those are good wants. They're not necessarily in conflict." Pat leaned forward. "Legally speaking, you have options. You can't be forced to donate an organ. That's your body, your choice, end of story. But you can also use this situation to your advantage." "What do you mean?" "I mean you can negotiate. He wants something from you, something only you can give. That puts you in a position of power. Use it." Tanya jumped in. "Girl, you've got all the evidence. The affair, the financial records, the divorce plans. If you wanted to destroy him in court, you could." "I could." I agreed. But then what? We'd be fighting for years. The kids would be caught in the middle, and Raymond might die before anything got resolved. "So what are you thinking?" I took a deep breath. "I'm thinking I make him an offer. A deal. He gives me what I want, and I consider giving him what he needs." "What do you want?" I had been thinking about this all night, making lists in my head, prioritizing. First, I want the divorce, but on my terms. I keep the house, full ownership, no split. "That's reasonable," Pat said. "You can prove you've paid for it. Any judge would agree." "Second, I want full custody of the kids. He can have visitation, but they live with me. Also reasonable given his health situation." "Third, I want the money back. Every dollar he spent on Crystal. 50,000 or whatever it turns out to be. He pays it back over time. That might be harder to enforce, but it's not unreasonable." "Fourth, I want Mama Jean out of my life. She knew about the affair. She covered for him. She's been treating me like garbage for years. I want a clean break from her too." Tanya whistled. "That's going to cause family drama." "I don't care about drama. I care about my peace." "And fifth," I paused. "Fifth, I want him to tell the children the truth. Not my version, not his version. The truth, that he betrayed this family, that he made choices that hurt all of us, that what happened to him is a consequence of his own actions." Reverend Mother Grace spoke up. "That's a heavy burden to put on children. It's heavier to let them think their mother abandoned their sick father. If I refuse to give him a kidney and he dies, they'll blame me, unless they know the truth." The room was quiet. Pat finally said, "And if he agrees to all of this, you'll give him the kidney." I looked at my hands, the hands that had worked double shifts for 15 years, the hands that had held my babies, the hands that had signed checks for his failed businesses. If he agrees to everything, signs the papers, follows through, then yes, I'll get tested officially. I'll go through the process. I'll give him a chance to live. And if he doesn't agree, then I walk away. File for divorce myself. Let the lawyers fight it out. And whatever happens to his kidneys happens." Tanya shook her head. "Girl, that's cold. Is it? Is it cold to expect something in return for literally giving a piece of myself? Is it cold to want fairness after everything he's done?" "No," Mother Grace said firmly. "It's not cold. It's wisdom. King Solomon would understand." I smiled despite myself. I don't know about Solomon, but I know about survival, and I know about standing up for yourself. "So what's the next step?" Pat asked. "I need to talk to my lawyer, get the paperwork ready, make sure everything is legally binding. And then I go home, and I tell Raymond exactly what his life is worth to me." Tanya poured me another cup of tea. "We're with you, sis. Whatever you decide, whatever happens, we're with you." I looked around at these women, my sister circle, my support system, the people who had held me up when Raymond was tearing me down. "I know you are, and I love you for it." Mother Grace reached over and took my hand. "Denise, whatever you decide about that kidney, make sure you can live with it. Not for him, not for the children, for you. Because at the end of the day, You're the one who has to sleep at night. You're the one who has to face God. You're the one who has to look in the mirror. I squeezed her hand. I know, Mother. I know. That night I went home. Raymond was in bed, hooked up to his machines, waiting. I stood in the doorway and looked at him. Tomorrow, I said. We'll talk tomorrow. I have some things I need to say. His eyes widened with hope. Does that mean? It means tomorrow. That's all it means. I closed the door and went to the guest room, but I didn't sleep. I lay in the dark thinking about fairness and revenge and mercy and justice, thinking about what kind of woman I wanted to be, thinking about what my children would remember, thinking about whether I could give a piece of myself to a man who had tried to take everything. Tomorrow would change everything. One way or another, it would all be decided. The next morning, I woke up early, made coffee, sat at the kitchen table with a folder in front of me. Inside that folder was everything: bank statements, credit card records, photos from the investigator, printouts of Raymond's emails, the draft divorce petition his lawyer had prepared. 13 years of marriage reduced to paper and ink. I heard Raymond moving around upstairs, slow, shuffling steps, the sound of a man whose body was failing him. He came down the stairs one step at a time, holding the railing like his life depended on it, which in a way it did. He saw me at the table, saw the folder. His face went pale. What little color he had left drained away. Sit down, Raymond. He sat across from me. His hands were trembling. Whether from fear or kidney failure, I couldn't tell. Maybe both. I've been doing a lot of thinking, I said. About you. About us. About what you asked me. Denise. I know I don't deserve. I held up my hand. I'm not finished. He closed his mouth. You asked me to give you a kidney, to literally cut open my body and give you a piece of myself, after everything you've done. I opened the folder, spread the contents across the table. His eyes went wide. He recognized the photos, the bank statements, the emails. You knew I've known for months, Raymond. I found out about Crystal before you ever collapsed. I found out about your kidneys before you ever told me. I found out about your little divorce plan before your lawyer even finished the paperwork. How does it matter? The point is, I know everything. Every dollar you spent on her, every lie you told me, every plan you made to throw me away. He was crying now, silent tears running down his face. I thought I was being smart, he whispered. I thought I had it all figured out. You thought you were smarter than me. You thought I was just your stupid wife who would never notice, who would never question, who would just keep working and paying bills while you played house with a woman half my age. She's not half your close enough, Raymond. Close enough. I gathered the papers back into the folder. Here's the situation. You need a kidney. I'm a perfect match. The only perfect match, apparently. Your mama can't help you. Your brother can't help you. Your precious Crystal certainly can't help you. I leaned forward. And without that kidney, you will die. Not quickly, not easily. Years of dialysis, watching your body shut down piece by piece, knowing that salvation was right in front of you and you couldn't reach it. Please, Denise, please, I'll do anything. 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 I pulled out another set of papers. Fresh, clean, prepared by my lawyer just yesterday. Then here's what's going to happen. I slid the first document across the table. This is a divorce agreement. We're ending this marriage. But not the way you planned, not with you taking half of everything I built. This is on my terms. He looked at the paper. His hands shook as he picked it up. The house stays with me, 100%. My name only. You sign over any claim to it. But paid for it. Let me show you something. I pulled out the mortgage statements. 15 years of payments, every single one from my checking account. You haven't contributed to this house in 5 years, Raymond. Not one payment. This house is mine. I paid for it. I maintained it. I made it a home while you were off playing with your girlfriend. He put down the paper. Didn't argue. Second condition. Full custody of Jalen and Mia. They live with me. You get visitation. Supervised at first, then we can talk about weekends once you're healthy, if you get healthy. Supervised, Denise. They're my kids. They're my kids too. And right now you're not capable of taking care of yourself, let alone 2 children. This isn't punishment. This is reality." He swallowed hard, nodded. "Third condition. The money. Every dollar you spent on Crystal. Every dollar you hid in secret accounts. Every dollar you stole from this family. You're going to pay it back. I don't have $50,000. You have a 401k. You have a car that's worth something. You have a job when you're healthy enough to work. You'll pay it back over time, monthly payments, whatever you can manage, but you will pay it back. Fourth condition." I looked him in the eye. "Your mother moves out. Within 30 days of you leaving the hospital after your transplant. She can go live with Marcus. She can get her own apartment. I don't care. But she doesn't stay in my house. She's my mother, Denise. She's sick too. She's not that sick. She's been living here rent-free for 6 years, eating my food, criticizing my cooking, and covering up your affair. She knew about Crystal. She helped you hide it. She's been telling people at church that I'm a bad wife while you were the one sneaking around." Raymond's face crumpled. "You know about that." "I know about everything, Raymond. Everything." I slid the last document across the table. "Fifth condition. And this one is not negotiable." He picked up the paper. "Read it." His face went white. "You want me to tell the kids, I want you to tell them the truth. All of it. That you had an affair. That you spent money on another woman. That you planned to leave this family. That everything that's happening now is because of choices you made. I can't. They'll hate me. They might. For a while. Or they might understand more than you think. Jalen is 12. He's not stupid. He knows something has been wrong. Better they hear the truth from you than make up their own stories. Why is this so important to you? Because if I give you my kidney and you die anyway, they'll mourn you as a saint. If I give you my kidney and you live, they need to understand what you did. Either way, they deserve the truth." Raymond stared at the papers spread across the table, his future laid out in black and white. "And if I agree to all of this," I sat back in my chair. "If you agree to all of this, if you sign every document, if you follow through on every condition, then I will go to the hospital. I will complete the official testing. I will undergo the surgery. And I will give you my kidney." He looked up at me, hope flickering in his eyes. "You mean it?" "I mean it. And if I don't agree, then I walk away. File for divorce myself. Let the lawyers spend the next 2 years fighting over assets while your kidneys continue to fail. By the time it's all settled, you might not need a transplant anymore. You might need a funeral." "That's cold, Denise. Is it colder than what you were planning to do to me? Leave me with nothing. Take my house. Run off with your girlfriend." I stood up, gathered the folders. "You have 24 hours to decide, Raymond. Think about it carefully. Because this is a one-time offer. I'm not going to beg. I'm not going to negotiate. These are my terms. Take them or leave them." I walked toward the door, stopped, turned back. "Oh, and Raymond, don't try to call Crystal for advice. She's not answering. I hear she's already moved on to someone with healthier organs." The look on his face was worth everything. I left him sitting at that table, surrounded by evidence of his betrayal, facing the consequences of his choices. For the first time in 13 years, I had all the power, and it felt like freedom. I knew Mama Jean would come. I just didn't expect her so soon. 4 hours after my conversation with Raymond, her car pulled into my driveway. I watched from the kitchen window as she stormed up the walkway, her face twisted with fury. She didn't knock, just burst through the front door like she still owned the place. "Denise." "Where are you?" I came out of the kitchen, calm, collected, ready. "Hello, Mama Jean. Don't you hello me. What did you do to my son? I didn't do anything to your son. His kidneys did, and his choices did. I'm just responding to the situation." She got right in my face, close enough that I could smell the mint on her breath, close enough that I could see the rage burning in her eyes. "He told me what you're asking for. You're blackmailing him, using his illness to steal everything he's worked for." I almost laughed. "Everything he's worked for." Let me ask you something, Mama Jean. Do you know who paid for this house? My son. No, I paid for this house. My grandmother left me money when she died. I put it all down as a down payment. Then I spent 15 years making mortgage payments. From my paycheck, not your son's. That's a lie. I walked to the filing cabinet in the living room, pulled out a folder, handed it to her. 15 years of bank statements, every mortgage payment. Look at the account number, look at the name. That's my checking account. My money, month after month after month. She didn't look at the papers, just threw them on the ground. I don't care about paperwork. My son is dying, and you're sitting here making demands like some kind of loan shark. Your son is dying because his kidneys are failing. That's biology. But your son is also in this position because he chose to cheat on his wife, steal from his family, and plan an escape instead of taking care of his health. How dare you? I dare, because it's the truth. He spent $50,000 on another woman, Mama Jean. Did you know that? Did you know about the apartment he rented for her, the car he bought her, the jewelry, the vacations? Her silence told me everything. You did know. You knew about Crystal. You probably met her. And you didn't say a word to me. That's between a husband and wife. I'm not getting involved and you're not getting involved. You've been living in my house for 6 years. You've been eating food I paid for, taking medication. I bought going to doctor appointments I drove you to. And you couldn't be bothered to tell me my husband was cheating? That's not my place. No. Then what is your place, Mama Jean? To sit in my living room and criticize how I keep house, to tell the church ladies that I'm a terrible wife, to help your son hide his girlfriend while I work double shifts to support this family. She was sputtering now, face red, hands clenched. You're twisting everything around. Raymond made mistakes, but he's a good man. He doesn't deserve to die because you're angry. I'm not letting him die, Mama Jean. I'm offering to save his life, but I'm doing it on my terms. After everything he's taken from me, I think I'm entitled to that. Your terms are outrageous, kicking me out of my own home. This is not your home. This is my home. And you have 4 other children, Marcus, Angela, David, Keisha. 4 people who can take you in. Why does it have to be me? Because family takes care of family. Really. Is that what Raymond was doing when he was sleeping with Crystal? Taking care of family. Is that what you were doing when you helped him hide it? She had no answer for that. Here's the thing, Mama Jean, you've never liked me. From day one, you thought your son deserved better. Better family, better education, better skin tone probably. That's not... Don't lie to me. I've heard how you talk about me when you think I can't hear. Denise isn't cultured enough for Raymond. Denise works too much. Denise doesn't know how to treat a man. Well, here's what I know. I know how to work. I know how to provide. I know how to keep a family together, even when my husband was doing everything he could to tear it apart. And I know my worth. So you can stand there and call me a blackmailer. You can tell the church I'm a monster. You can say whatever you want about me. But at the end of the day, I'm the only one who can save your son. And I'm going to do it, but on my terms. She stared at me. For the first time since I'd known her, she didn't have a comeback, didn't have a criticism, didn't have a snide remark. Just stood there realizing that the daughter-in-law she had dismissed for years was the only person standing between her son and a slow death. 30 days, Mama Jean. That's what the agreement says. 30 days after Raymond comes home from the hospital, you find somewhere else to live. You can't do this. I can, and I am. You want to fight me on it? Get a lawyer. Take me to court. But while you're doing that, think about who's going to give Raymond that kidney, because it won't be you, it won't be Marcus, it won't be any of your other children. It'll be me, the woman you looked down on for 13 years. She opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again. Then she turned around and walked out the door. I heard her car start, heard her peel out of the driveway, and I went back to the kitchen to finish my coffee, 1 down, 1 to go. Raymond didn't take 24 hours. He didn't even take 12. That evening, I came home from a meeting with my lawyer to find him sitting at the kitchen table. The documents were spread out in front of him, a pen in his hand. He looked up when I walked in. I'll sign. I set down my purse, pulled out a chair, sat across from him. All of it, all of it. The house, the custody, the money, my mother. Telling the kids. He pushed the papers toward me. I've already signed the first 4 pages. I wanted to wait until you were here for the rest. I looked at the signatures. His handwriting was shakier than I remembered. Whether from emotion or illness, I couldn't tell. Why the change of heart? He laughed, a short, bitter sound. What choice do I have? Die to protect my pride. Spend whatever time I have left fighting in court. Watch my kids grow up thinking their father chose to die rather than face consequences. He shook his head. I called Crystal today. She actually answered for once. What did she say? Enough. She's done. Said she's sorry things turned out this way, but she has to think about her own future. Said she hopes I find peace. He looked at me with something like wonder in his eyes. She couldn't even say she hopes I survive. Just hopes I find peace. Like I'm already dead. She's showing you who she is. I know. I guess I always knew. I just didn't want to see it. He picked up the pen again. You want to know something funny? When I started seeing Crystal, I told myself I deserved it, that I had worked hard and earned some happiness, that you were too focused on work to appreciate me, that our marriage was dead anyway. And now I see that I was the one who killed it. Not you, not the kids, not the long hours. Me. I checked out. I stopped trying. And then I blamed you for not being enough when I was the one who gave up. That's probably the most honest thing you've said in years. I know. He signed another page. Dying has a way of clearing the head. He worked through the documents one by one, initialing, signing, dating. When he got to the last section, the part about telling the children, he paused. Denise, I don't know how to do this. How do I tell Jalen and Mia that their father is a cheater, that everything they believed about our family was a lie? You tell them the truth, simply, clearly, without excuses. They'll hate me, maybe, for a while, or maybe they'll respect you for finally being honest. Kids are more resilient than you think, and they know more than you realize. He signed the final page. There, it's done. I gathered the papers, checked each signature, each initial, everything in order. I'll file these tomorrow. My lawyer will handle the legal side. We should have everything finalized within a few weeks, and then we schedule the transplant. I'll complete the official testing. The hospital will run their evaluations. If everything checks out, we pick a surgery date. You really think you'll go through with it? I looked at him. This man I had loved, this man who had hurt me, this man who was now completely at my mercy. I told you I would. I'm not a liar, Raymond. That was always your department. He flinched, but he nodded. Fair enough. I stood up to leave, then stopped. Raymond, let me be clear about something. I'm not doing this because I forgive you. I'm not doing this because I still love you. I'm not doing this because I think you deserve it. Then why? Because I don't want to be like you. He frowned. What do you mean? I mean, you made choices based on selfishness, on what felt good in the moment, on what you wanted without thinking about who you hurt. I'm not going to make the same mistake. I'm going to make a choice based on what's right, what I can live with, what I want my children to see when they look at their mother. So you're doing this for them, I'm doing this for me. But also for them. They deserve to have their father alive, even if he's not perfect. They deserve the chance to forgive you someday if they choose to. They deserve better than growing up with a ghost. And us? Raymond asked. Is there any chance? I stopped him before he could finish. No, there's no us anymore. There's me, and there's you, and there's the children we share. But the marriage is over. The partnership is done. You made that choice when you decided Crystal was more important than your family. I'm giving you a kidney, Raymond. I'm not giving you my heart. You used that up a long time ago. He bowed his head, nodded slowly. I understand. Good. I walked to the door, looked back one more time. Tomorrow, you need to talk to Jalen and Mia. I'll give you time alone with them, but I want them to hear it from you before we move forward with anything else. Okay? And, Raymond, be honest. Really honest. If I find out you sugarcoated it or blamed me or made excuses, the deal is off. I don't care how sick you are. I'll be honest, I promise. Your promises don't mean much to me anymore, but I'll give you this one chance. I left him sitting there, alone with his signed documents, alone with his failing organs, alone with the consequences of everything he had done. Tomorrow he would face his children, and I would watch to see if any part of the man I married still existed under all those lies. I remember exactly where I was standing when Raymond told our children the truth. In the hallway, just out of sight, close enough to hear every word. I know some people might say that's wrong, that I should have given them complete privacy. But I needed to know, needed to hear for myself whether Raymond was capable of honesty. He sat them down in the living room, Jalen on one end of the couch, arms crossed already suspicious. Mia on the other end, legs swinging, not sure why she was there. "Kids," Raymond started. His voice was shaking. "I need to tell you something important, something I should have told you a long time ago." "Is it about why you're sick?" Jalen asked. "Partly, but it's about more than that." Raymond took a deep breath. "I did something really bad. Something that hurt your mother. Something that hurt our whole family." "What did you do?" Mia's voice was small. I was spending time with another woman. A woman who wasn't your mother. I was giving her money and attention that should have gone to you and Mama." Silence. Then Jalen spoke, his voice cold. "You mean you were cheating?" "Yes, that's exactly what I mean." More silence. Mia looked confused. "But you're married to Mommy." "I know, baby. That's what made it so wrong. When you're married, you're supposed to be faithful. You're supposed to only love one person that way. And I broke that promise." "Why?" Jalen demanded. "Why would you do that?" Raymond shook his head. "I wish I had a good answer. I was selfish. I was stupid. I told myself lies to make it seem okay. But it wasn't okay. It was never okay." "Does Mommy know she knows everything?" "She's known for a while." "Is that why you two have been weird?" Jalen asked. "Why you sleep in different rooms? Why Mommy cries sometimes when she thinks we can't hear?" My heart clenched. I didn't know the kids had noticed that much. "Yes," Raymond said. "That's why. Your mother has been dealing with this pain for months, and she's been trying to protect you from it at the same time." Mia started crying, quiet tears rolling down her cheeks. "I don't understand, Daddy. If you love us, why did you do something bad?" Raymond reached for her, then stopped, like he wasn't sure he had the right anymore. "Sometimes grown-ups make terrible mistakes, sweetheart, even when they love their families. I can't explain it in a way that makes sense because it doesn't make sense. I was wrong, plain and simple." "Wrong." Jalen stood up. His face was hard, older than 12. "So what happens now?" "You and Mom are getting divorced." "Yes, and you're sick. You need Mama's help to get better." "Yes." Jalen's eyes narrowed. "So you only told us because you need something from her, not because you wanted us to know." Raymond flinched. "It's not—" "That's exactly what it is," Jalen interrupted. "You got caught. You got sick. Now you need help and you can't lie anymore. That's the only reason we're having this conversation." I watched Raymond's face crumble, because Jalen was right, and they both knew it. "You're right," Raymond said quietly. "I should have told you sooner. I should have told your mother sooner. I should have done a lot of things differently. But I can't change the past. I can only try to do better now." Mia was still crying. "Do you still love us?" "Daddy." Raymond did reach for her then, pulled her into a hug. "I love you more than anything in this world, baby girl. More than my own life. Nothing will ever change that. But you didn't love us enough to stop," Jalen said. "You didn't love us enough to be faithful to Mama. You didn't love us enough to think about what would happen when we found out." Raymond looked at his son, tears in his own eyes now. "You're right, and I'll regret that for the rest of my life. However long that turns out to be." Jalen sat back down, not softening, but not leaving either. "Is Mama going to help you?" "Give you her kidney, I hope so," Raymond said. "That's her decision, and whatever she decides, I'll accept it, because I don't have the right to ask her for anything after what I've done." "But you're asking anyway." "Yes, because I want to live, because I want the chance to be a better father, because I want to prove to you and your sister that people can change, even when they've made terrible mistakes. Mia pulled back from the hug. Her face was red and wet. Mommy's really brave, she said, to help someone who hurt her. Your mother, Raymond said slowly, is the strongest person I've ever known, and I was too stupid to see it until I almost lost everything. Jalen looked toward the hallway, right at the spot where I was standing. I don't know if he could see me or just sensed I was there. Mom's listening, isn't she? I stepped out of the shadows, walked into the living room. Yes, baby, I'm here. Mia ran to me, wrapped her arms around my waist, buried her face in my stomach. Jalen stood up, walked over, put his hand on my arm. Hey, are you okay, Mom? I looked at my children, these beautiful, brave, perceptive children who deserved so much better than this mess their parents had created. I will be, I said. We all will be. Then I looked at Raymond. You did good. Thank you for being honest. He nodded. It's the least I could do. The very least, Jalen muttered. But it was a start. That night, after the kids were in bed, I sat alone in my room and thought about what I had witnessed. Raymond had told the truth. Not perfectly, not completely voluntarily, but he had looked his children in the eye and admitted what he had done. It wasn't redemption. It wasn't forgiveness. It wasn't even close to making things right. But it was something. And maybe, just maybe, it was enough to build something new from the wreckage of what we had destroyed. Not a marriage. That was gone forever. But maybe two parents who could coexist. Two people who could put their children first. Two broken humans who could find a way to heal separately. I picked up my phone, called the hospital. I'd like to schedule a transplant evaluation, I said. My name is Denise Carter. I'm a potential living donor. The woman on the other end asked for details. I gave them, and just like that, the next chapter began. The morning of the surgery, I woke up at 4 a.m. Not from an alarm, just from the weight of what was about to happen. I lay in bed and stared at the ceiling. In a few hours, doctors were going to cut me open, remove one of my kidneys, give it to a man who had betrayed me in every way possible, and I had chosen this. Nobody forced me. Nobody manipulated me. I walked into it with my eyes open and my mind clear. People kept asking me why. Tanya asked. She came over the night before, brought me dinner, sat with me while I packed my hospital bag. Girl, are you sure about this? You can still back out. Nobody would blame you, I'm sure. But after everything he did, because of everything he did, not despite it, she frowned. I don't understand. I've spent the last 6 months being angry, hurt, betrayed, planning revenge, imagining all the ways I could make him pay, and it was exhausting. Carrying all that hate around, letting him take up space in my head every minute of every day. I don't want to do that anymore. So you're forgiving him? No, I'm not forgiving him. I'm freeing myself. She still looked confused. If I let him die when I could save him, I have to live with that every day for the rest of my life. Every time I look at my children, every time I pass a hospital, every time someone mentions organ donation, I'd be chained to this decision forever, chained to Raymond forever. Even in death, he would still be controlling my life. I'm not going to give him that power. I'm going to save his life. Not because he deserves it, but because I deserve peace. I deserve to move forward without this weight on my soul. I deserve to look in the mirror and see someone I'm proud of. Tanya hugged me then, held me tight. You're a better woman than me, she said. No, I'm just a woman who's done being a victim. My mama came to the hospital, sat with me while they prepped me for surgery, held my hand while they started the IV. Baby, she said, I want you to know something. What, Mama? Whatever happens in there, I'm proud of you. You've handled this whole situation with more grace than I could have imagined. I learned from you. She smiled, tears in her eyes. Your grandmother would be proud too. She always said you had a spine of steel under all that sweetness. Looks like she was right. The nurses came to wheel me to the operating room. I looked at my mama one last time. Tell the kids I love them. Tell them I'll see them when I wake up. I will, baby. Now go save that fool's life so we can all move on. I laughed. Even at a moment like that, my mama could make me laugh. They rolled me down the hallway. Bright lights overhead, masked faces all around. Someone told me to count backwards from 10. I got to 7 before everything went dark. When I woke up, the first thing I felt was pain. Deep, throbbing pain in my left side where my kidney used to be. The second thing I felt was relief. It was done. The decision was made. The surgery was over. Whatever happened next, I had followed through. A nurse appeared, checked my vitals, told me everything went well, and the recipient I asked. My voice was hoarse. She hesitated. That's not usually information He's my husband, soon to be ex-husband. I need to know. She looked at me for a long moment, then nodded. He's in recovery. The transplant was successful. His body is responding well to the new kidney. I closed my eyes. It was done. I had given a piece of myself to the man who tried to take everything from me, and now we were both going to live. Separately. Differently. But alive. Tanya came to visit that afternoon, brought flowers, sat beside my bed. "How are you feeling?" "Like someone removed one of my organs," I said, which apparently they did. She laughed. "The morphine must be good." "It's okay. I've had worse pain." "Like what?" "Like finding out your husband has been cheating for 18 months. That hurt way more than this." She squeezed my hand. "It's really over now, isn't it?" I looked out the window. The sun was setting. Orange and pink streaking across the sky. The marriage is over. The surgery is over. The secrets are over. But my life is just beginning. I spent 3 more days in the hospital, recovering, healing, getting used to life with one kidney. Raymond was in a room down the hall. We didn't see each other, didn't talk. There was nothing left to say. On my last day, a nurse brought me a card. "From Mr. Carter," she said. "He asked me to give it to you." I opened it. Simple white card. Raymond's handwriting inside. "Denise. There are no words for what you've done. You saved my life when you had every reason to let me die. I know this doesn't make up for anything. I know sorry is just a word. I know I don't deserve your mercy, but I want you to know that I see you now. Really see you, for the first time in years. You are extraordinary, and I was a fool not to recognize it sooner. I'll spend the rest of my life trying to be worthy of this gift you've given me. Not for you. I know we're done, but for Jalen and Mia, for my own soul, for the chance to become someone who deserves to live. Thank you. Raymond." I read the card twice, then I put it in my bag. Not to keep as a treasure, not to forgive him, just to remember that people can change, sometimes, when they're forced to face what they've done. Whether Raymond would actually become a better person remained to be seen. But that wasn't my problem anymore. My problem now was healing, moving forward, building a new life, and that was exactly what I intended to do. 1 year later, I'm sitting on my front porch, the porch of my house, just mine now. Raymond's name came off the deed 6 months ago. It's a Sunday morning, the kind of morning where the world feels new and full of possibility. Jalen is inside doing homework. He's 13 now, taller than me, voice starting to crack, still protective of his mother, still slow to trust his father, but he visits Raymond every other weekend. They're building something. Slowly, carefully. I don't know if they'll ever have the relationship they should have had, but they're trying. Mia is in the backyard playing with our dog. We got a puppy 4 months ago, a golden retriever named Sunny. Mia said we needed something that matched my new life, something bright and warm. She's 9 now, still sweet, still sensitive, still processing what happened. Her therapist says she's doing well, learning that sometimes people you love disappoint you. And that's okay. That doesn't mean love was wrong. Raymond is alive. The transplant worked. My kidney settled into his body like it was meant to be there, which in some cosmic way maybe it was. He moved into an apartment across town after he recovered. Small place, nothing fancy, a far cry from the luxury apartment he kept for Crystal. Speaking of Crystal, I heard through the grapevine that she got engaged, some executive at a competing pharmaceutical company. Good for her. She found what she was looking for, a man with money and healthy organs. Raymond works part-time now. The illness took a lot out of him. He can't do the high-powered sales job anymore. Does consulting, training, makes enough to pay his child support and his debt to me. He's paid back $8,000 of the $50,000 he owes. At this rate, he'll be paying me until he's 60. I don't mind. It's not about the money. It's about the principle. Mama Jean moved in with Marcus after the 30 days were up. She didn't go quietly. There was screaming, crying, accusations. She told everyone at church that I was a monster who kicked a sick old woman out of her home. You know what happened? People didn't believe her. Turns out I wasn't the only one who noticed Raymond's affairs over the years. Wasn't the only one who saw how Mama Jean treated me. Wasn't the only one who wondered how a woman could work so hard and still be called lazy. The church ladies rallied around me, made me casseroles, checked in every week. Mother Grace started a prayer circle just for me. Who knew that my support system was there all along? I just had to let them in. My health is good. 1 kidney is plenty, the doctors say. I have to watch my blood pressure, stay hydrated, get regular checkups, small price to pay. I got promoted at work, charge nurse now. More responsibility, better pay. A chance to mentor younger nurses coming up behind me. I started a side business too, consulting for hospitals on patient care protocols. Tanya helped me set it up. Turns out, 15 years of experience is worth something. My bank account has never looked better. Funny how that happens when you're not funding a man's failed businesses and his mistress's lifestyle. I started dating. Nothing serious? Just coffee, dinners, getting to know people. There's a man. Marcus. Different Marcus, not Raymond's brother. He works at the hospital. Respiratory therapist. Kind eyes. Gentle voice. Lost his wife to cancer 3 years ago. We're taking it slow. Both of us have scars. Both of us are careful. He knows my story. All of it. The affair, the kidney, everything. You know what he said when I told him, that's not a story of betrayal. That's a story of strength. You took the worst thing that ever happened to you and turned it into a testament to who you are. I almost cried. Almost. So here I am, 1 year later, sitting on my porch, drinking my coffee, watching the sun climb higher in the sky. I think about the woman I was a year ago, exhausted, suspicious, afraid. I think about the woman I am now, whole, free, at peace. It wasn't easy. It isn't easy. Some days I still wake up angry. Some days I still wonder what would have happened if I had made different choices. But I don't regret. Not giving him the kidney, not demanding what I was worth, not walking away from a marriage that was already dead. I did what I had to do. For myself, for my children, for my own soul. And that's enough. More than enough. My phone buzzes. Text from Tanya. Brunch next Sunday. The whole crew. Mother Grace is making her famous biscuits. I smile. Type back. I'll be there. Because that's what life is now. Brunches with friends. Homework with my son. Playing in the backyard with my daughter and our ridiculous dog. Simple things. Beautiful things. Things I didn't have time for when I was carrying Raymond's weight. I finish my coffee. Stand up. Stretch in the morning sun. Jalen calls from inside. Mom, can you help me with this math problem coming, baby? I walk inside. My house, my family, my life. Raymond gave his mistress everything he had, but he forgot about the one thing he couldn't give her. Me. My strength. My resilience. My ability to survive. And in the end, that was the only thing that could save him. Not Crystal's beauty, not his mother's devotion, not his brother's blood. Just me. The woman he overlooked. The woman he betrayed, the woman he tried to throw away. I saved his life, and then I saved my own. That's not karma. That's not revenge. That's not even justice. That's just a woman who finally knew her worth and refused to settle for less. Now let me talk to you directly. Yes, you. The one listening to this story right now. Maybe you're driving to work. Maybe you're doing dishes. Maybe you're lying in bed at 2 a.m. because you can't sleep, because something in your life is keeping you awake. I see you. I was you. Maybe your husband isn't cheating. Maybe he is. Maybe it's not a husband at all. Maybe it's a wife, a partner, a family member, a friend. But somebody in your life is taking more than they're giving. Somebody is draining you dry while you keep pouring yourself out like there's an endless supply. There isn't. I learned that the hard way. 13 years of giving everything I had to a man who saw me as a convenience, a bank account, a backup plan. And you know what the worst part was? I let it happen. Not because I was stupid, not because I didn't see the signs, but because I had been taught my whole life that good women sacrifice, good wives endure, good mothers put everyone else first. Nobody ever told me that good women also have limits, that good wives deserve respect, that good mothers need to show their children what self-worth looks like. I thought being strong meant carrying everything alone, never complaining, never asking for help, never admitting that I was drowning. But that's not strength. That's slow suicide. Real strength is knowing when to put something down. Real strength is saying, this is not acceptable. Real strength is walking away from people who refuse to see your value. I'm not telling you to leave your marriage. I'm not telling you to cut off your family. I'm not telling you to burn everything down. I'm telling you to look at your life honestly. Ask yourself some questions. Who is pouring into you the way you pour into them? Who celebrates your success instead of feeling threatened by it? Who shows up when you need them, not just when they need something? Who makes you feel like more, not less? If you can't answer those questions, you have some thinking to do. I spent 13 years waiting for Raymond to become the man I married, waiting for him to appreciate me, waiting for him to change. He didn't change until his body forced him to, until he was literally dying and I was his only hope. Don't wait for a medical crisis to demand what you deserve. Don't wait until you're so empty there's nothing left to give. Don't wait for someone else to tell you that your needs matter. They matter. You matter. Your health, your happiness, your peace of mind, all of it matters. And if the people in your life don't understand that, maybe they shouldn't be in your life. I know what some of you are thinking, but Denise, I have kids. I can't just leave. I had kids too, 2 of them. And you know what? They're better now than they were when I was trapped in that marriage. Because now they see their mother happy. Now they see what it looks like when a woman respects herself. Your children learn from what you do, not what you say. If you stay in a situation where you're disrespected, you're teaching them that disrespect is acceptable, that love means tolerating mistreatment. Is that the lesson you want to pass down? But Denise, I don't have money. I can't afford to start over. I was the breadwinner and I still felt trapped. Money isn't the real prison. Fear is. Fear of the unknown. Fear of being alone. Fear of what people will say. You know what's more expensive than starting over? Staying in a situation that's killing you slowly. Medical bills from stress. Therapy costs. Lost years you'll never get back. But Denise, what if nobody else wants me? Let me tell you something. I thought that too. Thought I was too old, too tired, too damaged. I was wrong. There are 7 billion people on this planet. The idea that one person who doesn't appreciate you is your only option, that's a lie that keeps you stuck. You are worthy of love, real love, the kind that lifts you up instead of wearing you down, the kind that sees your flaws and chooses you anyway, the kind that grows stronger through challenges instead of crumbling at the first sign of trouble. That love exists, but you won't find it while you're clinging to something that's already dead. I gave Raymond my kidney. Some people think that makes me a saint. Others think it makes me a fool. I think it makes me free. Free from hate. Free from bitterness. Free from carrying him around in my head for the rest of my life. I didn't give him that kidney because he deserved it. I gave it because I deserved peace. I deserved to move forward without that weight on my conscience. I deserved to look at my children and know that I chose mercy when I could have chosen revenge. That doesn't mean I forgave him. Forgiveness is a journey, and I'm not there yet. Maybe I never will be. But I released him. Released the anger. Released the need for him to suffer. Released the fantasy that punishing him would somehow heal me. It wouldn't. Revenge never heals. It just creates new wounds. So I chose differently. I chose to take what I was owed, give what I could give, and walk away whole. That's my story. That's my lesson. Your story might be different. Your lesson might look nothing like mine, but the principle is the same. Know your worth. Demand respect. Choose yourself, not sometimes, not when it's convenient, every single day, because nobody else is going to do it for you. The world will take everything you're willing to give. People will drain you as long as you let them. Systems will use you up and throw you away if you don't stand firm. You have to be your own advocate, your own protector, your own champion. Not because nobody cares about you, but because nobody knows what you need better than you do. So whatever situation you're in right now, whatever decision you're facing, whatever weight you're carrying, I want you to ask yourself one question. What would I tell my daughter to do? Or your son? Or your best friend? Or anyone you love? Would you tell them to stay in a situation that's destroying them? Would you tell them to keep giving to someone who only takes? Would you tell them their needs don't matter? No, you wouldn't. So why are you telling yourself those things? You deserve the same compassion you give to others, the same protection, the same fierce love. Give it to yourself. Starting today, starting now. Choose you. If this story touched you, if it made you think, if it reminded you of your own situation or someone you love, I need you to do something for me. Hit that like button right now. Not for me. For every woman out there who's going through something similar and needs to know she's not alone. Every like pushes this story further. Every like helps it reach someone who needs to hear it. And subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. There are more stories like this. Stories of women who faced impossible situations and came out stronger. Stories of betrayal and redemption. Stories of pain and healing. You don't want to miss them. Now comment below. Tell me where you're watching from. Tell me if this story resonated with you. Tell me if you've been through something similar. I read every comment, every single one, because this isn't just content. This is community. This is connection. This is women lifting each other up when the world tries to tear us down. Before I go, let me tell you what happened to everyone. Raymond is still alive. The kidney is working. He's living in his apartment working part-time paying his debts. He sees the kids every other weekend. He's trying to be a better father, though he'll never fully repair what he broke. Crystal got married to her executive, moved to another city. I hear she's pregnant now. Good for her. She found what she was looking for. I hope it makes her happy. Mama Jean lives with Marcus now. She still doesn't speak to me, tells anyone who will listen that I'm the villain of this story. I don't mind. The people who matter know the truth. Jalen is thriving. Straight A student, plays basketball, has a girlfriend he thinks I don't know about. I know. Mothers always know. He's protective of me in a way that breaks my heart and makes me proud at the same time. Mia is growing into the most beautiful, confident young woman. She told me last month that she wants to be a nurse like me. I cried for an hour. Tanya is still my rock, still running her salon, still telling me like it is. She's the sister I never had by blood, but always had by choice. Reverend Mother Grace passed away 6 months ago, peacefully in her sleep surrounded by family. At her funeral, I spoke about how she helped me find my strength, how she showed me that faith isn't about suffering silently. It's about standing up for what's right. And me, I'm still here, still working, still healing, still learning. I started a support group at my church for women in difficult marriages, for women who don't know how to leave, for women who think they're alone. We meet every Thursday night. We talk, we cry, we laugh, we hold each other up, because that's what we do. That's what women have always done. I don't know what your story is. I don't know what you're facing right now. I don't know if you're on the edge of leaving or just starting to suspect, but I know this. You're stronger than you think, braver than you feel, more valuable than anyone has told you. Your situation is not your destiny. Your past does not define your future. Your pain is not your permanent address. There is life on the other side of this. Beautiful, peaceful, full life. I found it. You can too. My name is Denise Carter. I'm 39 years old. I'm a nurse, a mother, a survivor, and a woman who finally knows her worth. I gave my husband's mistress everything she thought she wanted. The money, the attention, the promises. But she didn't get the one thing that mattered most. She didn't get me, my strength, my resilience, my kidney, my choice. In the end, I was the only one who could save him. And I did. On my terms. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of this community. Stay strong out there. Take care of yourselves. And remember, always remember, you are worthy of love, real love. Don't settle for anything less. This is Denise signing off. Peace.